Welcome to the Shifting with Marlee podcast. I'm Marlee. Thank you for joining me wherever you are. All that I ask of you, the listener, is to have an open mind and an open heart. And in return, I offer you myself. Today, we are going to dive deeper into the all-important topic of self-love. I first touched on this in episode 7, Self-Love Will Save the World, so definitely check that episode out if you want more. But today, I'm very excited to have on the podcast Kaelin Vu. She is a self-love coach, so she works with people one-on-one, and she's the host of the Dear Lovely Universe podcast, which is very uplifting and inspiring, and there's something there for everyone, so I highly recommend you check out her podcast, Dear Lovely Universe. Welcome, Kaelin.
Hi, Marlee. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to connect with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited too, and I'm just excited to see where this conversation goes.
Me too. And before we dive into the conversation, do you want to just share with people where they can find you and where they can connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me at Dear Lovely Universe on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, or dearlovelyuniverse.com. My website, kaelinvu.com, is also being made right now, but it's not uploaded yet. I'm mostly on Instagram, so you can connect with me at Dear Lovely Universe on Instagram.
Awesome. And I follow you and I love your Instagram. It's very optimistic and empowering. And yeah, I highly recommend you follow her.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So to start, Kaelin, I would just love, since you're a self-love coach, right? How do you define self-love?
I would define self-love as loving every single part of you. It's easy to love the parts of you that are, I guess, more pleasant, but to really love yourself is to love the parts of you that are not necessarily the most pleasant, the parts of you that can sometimes be really painful, and to embrace your shadow sides and your light. And when you really love yourself, you realize that you are complete and whole as you are. You have no holes. You were worthy since the moment that you were born.
I resonate with that so much. It's every part of yourself, right? It's not just the good things you show to the world. It's everything to the depths of your soul.
Yeah, definitely. There's parts of about everybody. Everybody is going through something, some kind of transition at every time, at every moment. Someone's going through some kind of transition. And, we're all going through something. And so when we give ourselves grace in our lives, that's also giving ourselves self-love.
Yes, I love that. And, on your podcast and on your website and your blog and on your Instagram, and in your self-love coaching business, you talk a lot about how self-love can connect people to living their best lives. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, totally. So it is not even a question to me that every single person has a purpose on planet Earth. Every single person. And so when we are living our authentic selves, when we love ourselves so much that we are willing to be our authentic self and bring out our intrinsic gifts that we were born with, that is living through our purpose. Because sometimes in life, especially in modern day society, we get bogged down by society or cultural standards that want us to conform in some way or another, or even families, people that want the best for you, but kind of have a herd mentality and kind of just hold you down. There's a lot that could hold you back in this modern day age, but when you love yourself so much, so fiercely, that you wouldn't want to live any other way than to be your authentic self and to do what makes you happy, that is living in your purpose.
And along those lines, how do you think self-love is connected to finding each of our purpose?
Yeah, so when you love yourself, you are going to step into a space where you try to figure out what makes you happy. Like, what do you actually like to do? When you love yourself, it's kind of a shift from doing things for other people and doing things for you. And when you start to do things for you, you're going to try new things, experiment, see what you really love. And then you'll find what you really love and you won't ever want to stop doing it.
Like a journey to find your passions, right?
Yeah, I think it's related a little bit. So I had talked to my dad before and I asked him just nonchalantly, Dad, when do you think you're going to retire? And he goes, Oh, I'm never going to retire. I'm like, what? What? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, Dad.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, like, this is my life purpose. And he's like, I'm a doctor. Like, I heal people. That's just what I do. And then it clicked to me. It made sense. I'm like, whoa, like, he's right. This is what he does. Like, this is why he was born. And so why would he ever stop?
Thank you for sharing that. I have chills. That's amazing. And if we love ourselves, it can go hand in hand with finding our calling, our purpose, our life purpose, our soul purpose.
Yeah.
And on that note, why do you think it's so important for people to get in touch with their purpose, right? Why should people dedicate their energy to that?
Well, because why would you want to die without ever truly living? Because our time on earth is precious. And although I do believe in multiple lifetimes, I do believe that every single lifetime is absolutely precious. And to waste time is just, it's really unfortunate. There's people who have their vices. Some people could go to the gym a lot to escape from feeling the the unsettling feeling that they're not going to the doing what they are supposed to do. Or some people numb themselves out with TV or social media. People have their own vices. And so when you have this thing that you're wasting your time on to escape from the knowingness that you are not going after your life purpose, one day you could be on your deathbed and all these years, hopefully if you live a long time, will have passed and you'll realize that you never actually did anything that you wanted to do in your life. You were just a sheep. And why would you ever want to be a sheep? Why wouldn't you want to sparkle your own personal light and bring your gifts into this world? One thing that Rachel Hollis said that really spoke to me was someone out there needs to hear your voice and they're just waiting for you to find it. And like that really hit me. So I hope someone out there resonates with that.
I certainly resonate with that. And I know for me, doing this podcast has been a big, big practice for me in self love because in order to do something like this podcast and share my voice, I had to overcome a lot of fear and self judgment and my own blocks in order to put this out there. And through this podcast, I feel like I have gotten deeper self love and at the same time gotten closer to my purpose.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. Oh man, podcasting, you have to overcome a lot of self-doubt, a lot of fear. So that's really great that you're doing this.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really, really grateful for this podcast. And I guess I say that because I think everyone can find that thing that might scare them a little bit, but it'll bring you deeper in self love and closer to your
Oh yeah,
purpose, right? Don't let fear deter you.
100%. The way to overcome fear is by taking action. And you'll realize that once you take action, it really wasn't as bad as it was in your head.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, stepping into your purpose, taking that action requires you to move through the fears that can separate you from self love.
Yeah, totally. When you overcome your fears, a part of you starts to realize that you're really freaking strong, and you start to love yourself more because of it, because you're overcoming your and you're seeing this person that you're growing into. When I first started, I was like on the tippy, I was on like, should I do it? Should I do it not? I had researched into blogging and podcasting for like 6 months, and I was just like not still sure. I knew what to do, and I had like a whole book of notes on what I was going to do, but I was not sure still. I'm like, are people even going to care? Like, is this really going to be worth it? And, stuff like that. And I didn't exactly know why I wanted to do this. I just knew that I wanted to do it. And it took a lot of time. It took a lot of money I mean, money for me when I didn't have any,
Yeah.
And I truly feel like because I acted on my intuition to do this, it led me to my life purpose, which is always there, but I actually made it into a business and start doing it professionally. So, you don't have to know exactly where you're going, but to just start and overcome that fear. You don't know where you could go. You could go to amazing places, but if you never try it, then it'll always be what could have been.
You got to take the leap of faith.
Yeah, definitely. If I hadn't see, I remember the exact day. I was in my room, I was sitting on my bed, and I just like was thinking about life. And it hit me like a train. It was like, if I don't start now, I'm never going to start. And so that day, at that moment, I got on my laptop and I hired some random person off of Fiverr to build my website for me. And I literally used all the money that I had in my savings. And gosh, I started building my website and he's like, "Where's the content?" Like, wait a second, I didn't make any content at all. And so it was like, it literally leapt me into it. Like I had to do that. And honestly, if it wasn't all of my savings, it probably would have felt way too hard and I wouldn't have done it. So you just got to take a leap of faith.
And that leap of faith has led you to today where you are now a self love coach. You have your own coaching business where you help people find this and find their purpose.
Yeah.
And, along those lines, what framework have you developed in your coaching program to help people find that?
Yeah. So in coaching, there's lots of different tools that I use, but mostly I'd say the biggest thing is because every person is unique. there's really no two people. One person could be at a very level one energy, which is like very victim. One person could be at a more level two energy, which is like conflict. Someone could be more at a level three, which is like forgiveness. And each person that you coach at a different level is going to have a different approach to the way they need to be coached. So there are certain frameworks and tools and stuff like that, but it really comes down to intuitive listening and really connecting to the client, listening to them and trying and putting together the pieces of the puzzle and really helping them see what they're talking about and helping them create the solutions to their own problems, no matter what it is, because the client always knows deep down what's best for them.
So you connect people with their own intuition almost.
Yeah, I'm just their thinking partner. I'm not telling them what to do whatsoever.
And do you provide people in your coaching program kind of tips and tools for finding deeper self-love and helping them find their purpose?
Well, when they ask for it, or maybe at the end of the session when I give encouragement, I often do affirmations. We'll come up with an affirmation together. They come up with the affirmation. I just encourage them to do it. And that seems to really help a lot of people.
I
Usually,
love
yeah.
affirmations. I've actually talked about them a lot on my podcast, and they have been transformational for me personally in my life. And it's something so simple, an affirmation, or a mantra, if you want to call it that. But it's so simple, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, totally. The I realize that there's a lot of people that have mixed feelings about affirmations, but I believe it works. It's worked for me, and if you have even an inkling to try it, just try it. It's not going to hurt. But the key about affirmations is it has to resonate with you. If it doesn't resonate with you, it's you're better off just not doing it.
Can you
So,
share with us some of your either most used affirmations or one you recommend for helping people find deeper self love or to find their purpose?
well, what I tell myself all the time is just simply, I'm worthy. I'm worthy, or I'm deserving, or even I love myself. I will almost tell myself those just all the time. There's another affirmation that I actually like a lot. Money comes to me like water in the shower. That one came to me years ago when I was like receiving an abundance of money. I was like, wait a second, this is just coming to me like water in the shower. And now I say that one kind of often.
Because abundance, which is what you're kind of referring to, we have to kind of open up and allow that abundance to flow into our lives, and the affirmations can help with that.
Oh, yeah, totally. Totally. It's just people should know, if they don't, that the universe understands energy. The universe gives you what you put out. If you want something, you just gotta say it.
Say it out loud, write it down, put it out into the universe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It will happen. It will happen because the universe is always conspiring in your favor, and you're better off to believe that anyway.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And isn't that such a beautiful thing to think that the universe is always conspiring in your favor? That makes me smile. I hope it makes you smile.
Yeah, it's important to realize that because sometimes things can get really rough. People go through losses, griefs, breakups, and really painful human experiences. And they can get really mad or upset with God and like, what was the purpose of this? What was this and that? The truth is that every single experience is just helping you grow as a person. So even though it was painful, it was still in your favor.
That's a shift in perspective, right? Because you can very easily have a very negative perspective about all the things that happen to us as humans, right, in our lifetime. But if you shift your perspective to always look for the lesson, it can really help.
Yeah. Yeah. Always. It's such a powerful thing. When you look for the lesson instead of just looking at the situation on repeat and repeat and repeat, you'll actually get somewhere.
Yeah, and affirmations can help with that. They can help shift your perspective. And besides affirmations, is there any other tips or tools that you can share with us that can help, that you've learned along the way?
Hmm. Well, one of the biggest things that I think I've realized in coaching is that every single person has an inner critic. Literally every single person has, I mean, some people have multiple, but everyone has at least one huge limiting belief or limiting block that's holding them back. I'll just give examples. Like for some people, it could be not feeling like they're worthy enough, or that things that they do just aren't good enough, or, maybe they're not this or that. And it's that thought that holds them back from doing things. There's a tool where you name that inner critic. Let's just, for the sake of this example, have let's pretend there's a client named Todd. And Todd's biggest inner critic is that he thinks that he's unattractive. And so he can't do anything in life. For the sake of this example, he feels like he can't do anything in life because he feels like he's unattractive. And so when he has that thought coming to him, "You're so unattractive, Todd, you can't do anything." As the coach, I would say, "Okay, Todd, what do you want to name that critic?" He'd say he names that critic Julie. And so when Julie comes up and starts going, "You're so ugly, Todd, you can't do anything in life," Todd's going to be like, "I see you, Julie, and I'm not listening to you." So that's one tool that you can use if you have this like huge inner critic. Name it, tell it, F off, I'm not going to listen to you.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's going to help a lot of people. And, I've talked before in this podcast about the ego, and that is very much related to your inner critic. And I've also talked about the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And he has a similar tool to start to recognize your ego, which is, like you said, to think of it almost as another person talking to you.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I think it can be really powerful, and also bring so much awareness to how you talk to yourself, which I think a lot of
definitely.
people who struggle with self-love might lack that awareness of how mean they are to themselves.
Yeah, that's a wonderful example. I think Michael Singer is honestly so amazing. I've listened to a lot of his interviews and I have a lot of his books. He's so
Me
great.
too.
But awareness is key. Awareness is key. If people are their hardest critics, it's just the way it is. People always find their own flaws and are the hardest on themselves than anybody. And since, we're on the topic of self-love, if you're someone who maybe is really hard on yourself and, or in other words, judgmental of maybe yourself and others, keep a judgment journal. It doesn't hurt. You could just take note, and maybe you'll actually start to realize just how difficult or harsh you're being on yourself, and whatever you want to do about it at that point is up to you.
I love that. I actually hadn't heard of that one. Writing down those judgmental thoughts you have in a journal, putting it on paper so you can see, whoa, whoa, maybe I should do something about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And whether you decide to make a change or not is completely up to you, because people will make a change when it's the right time for them. You're not going to change if you don't want to, or if you just don't feel like it. So,
Yeah, and I think too, there's so much out there that can help you, right? You're not alone. And I think that's a big piece too, is, there's someone like you who's a self-love coach who can work with people one-on-one. There's also books out there. There's simple tools, there's uplifting blogs, there's so much content and available resources out there to help people.
yeah, totally. I recommend that you figure out what medium you like to consume your content and just consume content. Never stop learning. I love audiobooks. It's hard for me to sit down and read an actual physical book, but I love audiobooks. So that's the medium that I'll use. If it's same thing sort of for like physical exercise. I always say just find what it is that you like to do and just do that. Some people do not like to run. Some people rather swim. Or some people hate to swim, but they like to run. You just got to find what you like to do and do that. So whether it's audiobooks, podcasts, blogs, just figure out what you like and don't ever stop learning.
I love that. I think that's good advice for everybody. Kaelin, is there any final words of wisdom or final messages that you can leave with us to kind of connect self-love and finding your purpose? Any final thoughts you have?
Yeah. If you're listening to this right now and you feel like you want to start something, you know you have the passion in you, but you're just kind of maybe a little scared, or you don't know, you just don't know. You're like going back and forth. My advice to you is, dear one, just do it. Do it. Do it and don't be scared. Take the leap, take the jump, and don't fear the fall. Life is way too short to hold back. Jump into your power, jump into your space, jump into your life purpose. You're going to feel so much better because of it. You're going to take your life by the handlebars and create the life that you want. I think another thing that I want to say is, when you are feeling down about yourself or there's challenging things that happen in your life, just know that it's temporary. It's temporary. Things will pass. Life is a balance. Where there's peace and happiness, there's also going to be some discomfort. And where there's discomfort, there's going to be peace and happiness. When you are at a place of acceptance and non-resistance to events and circumstances that happen in your life, then you'll always be at peace. If you love yourself and you know what you want to do in life, and you really are willing to do anything to get there, then just trust and believe that it's already coming to you. And all you're doing is paving the way for yourself to get there. But you already are there. So go out and just do the thing.